Hello world, welcome to the 268th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It is January 10th, 2024, or January 11th, 2024. The next protest will be on January 19th, 2024. So right now the news media is not covering it anywhere, the big network's not. But Earth has experienced the hottest year in 125,000 years, basically since humans have been on the ground. This was determined by the Copernicus satellite. Temperatures have increased 1.48 degrees Celsius since the 1880 baseline. If you use the 1750 baseline, you're looking at about 1.8 degrees Celsius increase since the year 1750. Now that's, let's just call it 1.5 degree increase. The Paris Agreement, the COP21 conference in 2019, will not. Now, the people, it's funny, I didn't hear this till this week. Oh, 1.5 degrees doesn't count now, exceeding that amount, until it happens for 20 years in a row. This is insanity, because at the end of 20 years, when it's been above 1.5, by then it'll be 2.5 or 3 degrees Celsius. So when it's at 3 degrees Celsius and everyone's dying, they'll come out with a report saying, oh, finally, we've exceeded the 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now, to be above 2 degrees Celsius, we have to wait another 20 years of above 2 degrees Celsius. The wheels are flying off the wagon right now, off the car or whatever. And we're experiencing massive changes in the Earth system. And people are having to move, mass migrations. People's houses are being flooded, droughted out, fires, whatever. And they're going to wait 20 years now. This is another example of kicking back the goal line and waiting 20 years now until they take action. That's all this is about. They don't want to take action. Those in charge don't want to take action. They don't want to upset anyone. They don't want to lose their places of power and position and everything. For example, down in Washington, D.C., they don't want to declare a climate change emergency. This is a ruse that's being played upon you, and you're being fooled by these two parties in charge in the United States and around the world to believe that they're going to help you. They're not. We're on a road to hell right now, and this is an example where 1.5 degrees that we're crossing now is an example of how bad things are going to get. And it's just a small little inkling as to how bad things are going to get. So November was 1.69, not 1.5 degrees above the 1880 baseline. That was November. This is where we're headed right now. Carbon dioxide is somewhere between 422 and 424 parts per million right now. And I'll talk about why that's important a little bit. Let's see, the Mediterranean region is heated up by, 20% faster than the rest of the globe. So the Mediterranean region is well on the way to becoming uninhabitable, especially the southern Mediterranean region around the Mediterranean itself. It's increased 20% faster in heating than the rest of the globe. So massive amounts of changes going on there. Let's see, glacier melt, the weight, this is my theory, okay, that glaciers are going to start melting at a faster and faster rate. And what that's going to do is all that weight at the beginning, at the bottom and top of the world right now is going to shift to the oceans. And if there are any weak points in the ocean floor, it's going to crack them because all that extra weight and cause plate tectonic shifts. The continents will start to shift. You're going to start seeing more and more earthquakes, and eventually entire continents are going to start slipping. And like for Los Angeles, for example, if you're on the west side of Los Angeles, you better move to the east side of the mountains, because eventually what's going to happen is the whole California plate's going to shift up north, the Pacific plate basically, versus the continental U.S. plate. And it's going to start thrusting up towards Alaska, and you're going to see massive earthquakes along those several fault lines, as well as Portland, Oregon, places like that, Seattle, Washington. You're going to see tsunamis, things that go along with that. But this is all caused by a shift of the ice weight from the ice down to the oceans. And Antarctica has a lot of weight, as does Greenland right now, as does the alpine glaciers. The PETM last extinction, that extinction was 65 million years ago to 50 million years ago. Temperatures ended up 8 degrees Celsius higher than what they are now, above the what we consider 1880 baseline. So temperatures jumped to 73 degrees Fahrenheit around that world, up to 22.8 degrees Celsius. So what happened was that you had the asteroid hit, and everyone thinks, oh, life ended then. No, it didn't. It took a long time to die. and volcanoes. It didn't help things. The asteroid hit, but what happened was over the next 10 million years, volcanoes started erupting, and this went on until 56 million years ago. For 10 million years, CO2 is sent into the atmosphere, and the average was 0.24. Now, this is going to give you context where we are now. The amount of CO2 going into the atmosphere, carbon dioxide, was 0.24 gigatons per year. Sounds like a lot. It is a lot. 0.24 gigatons per year. We, humans, are emitting 7 gigatons per year. So the last extinction, PTM, 0.24 gigatons per year, we're now shooting 7 gigatons per year into the atmosphere. So it's 28 times higher than the last extinction. Are you understanding what's going on here, where we're pointed? And these people, these psychopaths in charge, continue to drill, digging up the very thing that caused the last extinction, this carbon dioxide. Basically oil, coal, all that stuff, natural gas, methane, is being sent into the atmosphere after the last extinction, and we're sending ourselves right over the extinction cliff with the same stuff that killed the last group of animals and plants and marine life on the planet some 50-some million years ago. Who in their right mind in charge would ever authorize continued drilling? Well, I'll tell you who. The President of the United States right now, Joe Biden, the previous president, Donald Trump, the previous president before him, Obama, the previous president before him, Bush, and Clinton, and Bush, and Reagan. This is a whole sicko thing going on. And now there's no excuse. We have the facts, we have the figures, and USA last year produced a record amount of oil for 2023, more than any country has ever produced in the history of the world. And who's in charge? The Democrats and Joe Biden. Who's in charge before it? The Republicans and Donald Trump. Trump has said when he comes in office, he's going to drill, baby, drill. Biden's in charge right now, and he's continuing to drill the hell out of everything. So this is the sicko thing going on right now, and we're not going to get out of it if you continue to vote for these two parties. I don't care what your dogma says. You're worried about Trump and his shutting down free speech and doing whatever. This stuff doesn't matter. We're going to go extinct. There is no free speech no shutdown of free speech on a world that has become totally extinct. And this is where we're headed. These kids being born nowadays, they will not make it to old age. To my age, no way in hell. Kids in their 20s and 30s and 40s probably won't make it to my age the way we're going, especially with these two psychopaths that are running for office, and one of them's going to win, and most likely Donald Trump. And everyone I talk to says, oh, we can't vote for a third party. That would just cause Trump to win. Newsflash, Joe Biden is not going to win this election. He's not going to win the swing states the way he did last time. So you're wasting your vote with Joe Biden. You need to switch parties, such as with Jill Stein and the Green Party. They actually have a plan what's going on. And people say, no, I can't switch. Yes, you can. You're like a bird in a cage. The door's open. All you got to do is walk right out. You're in a prison, walk right out. The cage is open. The only one holding it back is you. You're causing a problem, and you're causing a self-fulfilling prophecy as to what's going to happen. If everyone jumped into the third party with people who aren't corrupted, then you would have a semi-chance to at least do something. Right now, Joe Biden has no intent. He has no plan. He has no desire to change things. Donald Trump has no plan, no intent to do things except to drill the shit out of everything. That's what they're both going to do. So right now, let's see, the Arctic sea ice is going to go at 1.5 degrees. This is where we are right now. Greenland's going to go. We're at a tipping point for that. The world's coral reefs are going to go at 1.5 degrees. And the permafrost under the boreal forests are going to go also at 1.5 degrees. So what's happening with that is then you have more feedback loops, less albedo, more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, more methane in the atmosphere. Methane is 160 to 80 times more potent in the first 20 years. And when it's in the atmosphere, then is carbon dioxide. So we're going to be venting off a massive amount of methane as we are now. We're seeing it go up. Right now in Canada, there are zombie fires going on. All you need to do, zombie fires through their winter, they're still burning. All you need to do is just add heat, a little bit of drought, and you can have massive eruptions of fires again. Small temperature increases. Small temperature increases can change things from ice to water. Small temperature increase can change things from snow to rain. Small temperature increases can cause tropical rainforest to become savanna, which is what's going to happen with the Amazon. It's at a tipping point right now. You can see it with the drought and the heat going on down there. So the rainforest down there is going to go from rainforest to savanna, okay, lack of trees, with fires and everything that goes along with that, more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and eventually become a desert. I mean, it's right near the equator, so it can't help but become a desert. The jet stream, with small temperature increases, you're having a lack of temperature gradient between the North Pole and the equatorial regions. So what happens is the jet stream starts slowing down because there's not such a high gradient. The Rossby waves start getting larger and larger. Sorry. So with the Rossby waves, you can encounter drought, severe heat, fires, deluges of rain, floods, and also stationary hurricanes. Stationary hurricanes could just sit and spin and blow from a category nothing to a category 5 or even a 6, which is not invented yet, and just wipe out entire cities. You get amplified hurricanes that way. Glaciers at this higher temperatures are going to start calving more and more. You get more albedo loss, which means the sun doesn't reflect into this space anymore. The sun's warmth gets absorbed into the ground. Ocean current disruptions. You get more fresh water into the oceans, and that causes a lack of diving down by the cold, salty water, and you get fresh water on top. Slows down the ocean currents like the AMOC and Atlantic and Medio-Diurnal overturning circulation, which leads to more disruptions all over the place. So you get the ocean currents shut down, especially when Greenland starts melting and Antarctica as well. Greenland's melting now. I mean, Antarctica is too, but even at a faster rate. Right now, there's no such thing as a PMOC, being Pacific Medio-Diurnal overturning circulation. There used to be way back when, in the Pliocene, I think, or I don't know when it was, but it was a long time ago. Pliocene, I think it was. Which during that period of time, there were carbon dioxide levels that are similar today. So I don't think you can have the PMOC at the same time there's an AMOC. The two are incongruous with each other or something or other. I was reading on it. If you want to blow your mind, start reading on the PMOC. So what happens is, in order for the Pliocene, for that to happen when the carbon dioxide was this level, in order for the PMOC to really become strong, the AMOC shut down. So this is tell you something. The AMOC is going to shut down the way we're headed right now, especially the policies that our politicians have. So Greenland has a 1.5 degrees tipping point, as does the Amazon rainforest, the Arctic sea ice, and the coral reefs. As I said, 2024 will be probably 1.7, 1.8 degrees higher than the 1880 baseline, which means essentially you add 0.3 degrees to that, and you're looking at 2 degrees Celsius increase since the year 1750. You'll have some days, you had 2 days this year that were above 2 degrees Celsius. You're going to have many days above 2 degrees Celsius this year due to the El Nino. Albedo loss turns ice and snow disappear. You also have, carbon dioxide, with this albedo loss that we've had down in the Antarctic region, as well the Arctic and the Arctic itself. With the albedo loss, we've only lost 0.4% albedo loss, as opposed to having a full set of ice and everything around. So 0.4 percentage. So that gives you an indication that the temperatures jump this much due to a 0.4% loss of albedo. When we start going 1%, 2%, 3%, you're going to see temperatures just go skyrocketing, which will be absolutely crazy. Another reason why we have albedo loss is because the maritime, the shipping industry has cut back on their sulfur emissions in the atmosphere from their exhaust. So they've cleaned up their act, which more sun is striking the ocean, which also causes more heating. So we're running a risk of an AMOC shutdown due to Greenland melting. The center of the cold is also going to shift to Greenland from the North Pole. If you notice on go to Earth Null School, you're seeing, and go to like 250 hexapixels, you can see the center of the cold shifting over to Greenland with the airflows and everything over that way. It's no longer so much over the North Pole, which is supposed to be the coldest region on Earth. So the Earth energy imbalance has increased 3 watts per meter squared since 2014, which translates to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So 3 watts per meter squared equals 1.5 degrees Celsius. So whatever the wattage is, either is tit for tat, like a 1 for 1, or in this instance, a 3 watts per meter squared since 2014, which I imagine there's some lag time. That's why this is involved this way. You have a 1.5 degree increase in Celsius increase since 1880. So it's as hot as 2023 was the hottest year ever in terms of human life. But it will be the coolest year ever for babies being born now. So this is our hottest year ever. But for babies being born, this is the coolest year they'll ever experience, most likely. The full effects of El Nino will be felt in 2024. You get albedo loss, maritime exhaust due to that. El Nino, the sun activity is very strong right now until 2025. Feedbacks, you have more water vapor, which is another greenhouse gas. So at some point, things start running out of control that you can no longer control it, and the Earth system takes over at that point. And it doesn't matter what you cut back on carbon emissions now at that point. The Earth will take over, and it'll take millions and millions of years to get back to where we are now, let alone get back to 280 parts per million, which is the safe zone for a stable environment. I don't know if the Earth will ever get back to there. So the 1.5 goal for the 2019 Paris conference, the COP conference, COP21, is shot. There's no way they're ever going to get back to that. We're getting past that. When La Nina comes around, most likely the La Nina will be hotter than the previous El Ninos. The idea of calling it La Nina at this point is just ridiculous. It's semantics. May 2024, probably the average for the whole year. If you go back to May 2023, the Earth's temperature will be well above 1.5 degrees. So the 1.5 degrees is shot. Add 0.3 degrees if you want to know the real temperature increase since the year 1750. The shift does not come back. Oh, yeah, they're doing this 20-year thing again. They're moving the goalposts, as I said earlier. That now it has to be above for 20 years, 1.5 degrees, to declare that we're above 1.5 degrees. It's insanity what's going on right now. So the full effects of the El Nino will be felt this year. Okay, so we will tip ourselves into a permanent El Nino. As I said, I think La Ninas are going to, it's semantics. Yeah, the ocean currents will look like a La Nina, but it's going to be hotter than the previous El Ninos. So let's see here. At some point, it becomes semantics, just saying La Nina, El Nino. It doesn't matter at that point. What's going to happen if the temperatures stay hot, and they will. You're going to start seeing food insecurity, as many countries are, many regions. Food insecurity, water, undrinkable water, or no water available. You look at Morocco, their second largest dam in Morocco has only 1% of the water that it had before in it. 1% full is all it has, so it doesn't have any water in it, basically. You're going to end up with shelter insecurity, food, water, and shelter. Those are the three things that people need, and that's what's going to end up leaving us. So governments, you're going to start seeing governments failing, probably in Africa and probably in Asia to some extent, the island nations and things like that. Governments will start failing as constituents. It'll be everyone for himself at that point. And if you're on an island, good luck with that. And you end up with anarchy and breakdown. So if you have guns and weapons, you can briefly save yourself for a while till someone comes by with more guns and weapons. You also run with the risk with this big increase in temperatures. You run a risk of nuclear launches being done by rogue nations. You also run with a chance of nuclear facilities melting down. Once they start going, you just irradiated the planet. You run the risk of gas lines. All these gas lines that we've laid out, if they're not maintained, they explode or leak out gas. You have all the oil wells and gas wells, as well as storage facilities. They run a chance of leaching out their poisons, as well as poisons in factories. I mean, many factories have these poisons, and if no one's around to maintain them, they just leak into the water as well and just into the environment. So these are a few issues that possibly will happen. So now, right now we're on a freight train that has begun to run off the extinction cliff at full speed. People politicians are saying climate change, and then they go on to some other issue. But when they finally discover that climate change is the big issue, it's not, free speech or anything like that. When they finally discover that, all the woo-woo won't help us. All the talking, all the yelling, the signaling with the woo-woo, meaning the train's in trouble, it's already going off the cliff. The front end of the train has already started going off the cliff. Whether we can pull the pin and save some of the train is up to you, the voter. Not happening right now. So don't listen to the words on the campaign. Look at what they've done. Both parties in the United States, Republican, Democrat, they're full of it. They're lying to you as to what's happening. They're lying to you as to what they're going to do. And yeah, one group will go farther right than the other, but it doesn't matter at this point. We're not going to survive, and survival trumps. survival is more important than anything else right now, and the path we're on is unsurvivable. I mean, I just told you all these different extinction events and everything. This is the path we're on right now. So I'll catch you next week. That'll be, let's see, January something or other, January 19th. And, look at the politicians and their actions, not their words. I've posted many things on my website. Go to Environmental Coffee House, go to Paul Beckwith, go to Kevin Anderson, Extinction Rebellion, Roger Hallam. There are a lot of great people out there. Facing Future Now, Climate Emergency Forum. There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube, and also go down my Facebook page. I have 4,000 some followers. I must know somewhat of what I'm talking about, and feel free to friend me or whatever, and I'll catch you next week. See you later.